everyone. Welcome to another episode of Geekin' Out, where most of us usually come hang out and just geek out about whatever we want. So I'm your host for tonight, Ricky Z. I'm your fan mom, I guess. Fan mom. And we have Jermaine, our Geek of All Fandoms, here tonight.
Jack of a thousand fandoms.
Jack of a thousand fandoms. That's right. So as you can see, we are missing a couple of folks. They will get here when they get here. Calling y'all out right now to get yourself on here right now. So let's just check in real quick. Like, how are you doing, Jermaine?
I'm doing a lot better than this morning. This hiatus was...
Uh-oh. Please don't tell me you're frozen, Jermaine. Don't do it to me now. Please don't tell me you're frozen. Oh my goodness, Jermaine's frozen. Look, y'all. Things happen. We know that Jermaine's all the way out in California, and so he was having some technical difficulties this morning because the power was out like all throughout town for him, and I don't know how he did it. But before give him some time to like get himself back in here. It's just me right now. So just so you guys know, make sure that you like and subscribe and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, join our Facebook group. You can find us on Twitch. You can find us on Daygamer and my channel, Ricky Z, as well. We rebroadcast the show on Fridays through the Wonderly Media Twitch account. I usually play this on my Twitter as well. So there's multiple ways you can find us. You can also find us on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe to our channel and follow us there. Also, if you haven't already seen it, we have a Patreon account. So if you want to help support the show and help us keep it going and for us to be able to bring you guys content, follow us on Patreon. Subscribe for as little as, I think, $3 a month, $5 a month. And you can get some really cool, some cute little things for being a patron of Geekin' Out. So now, hopefully, Jermaine can get himself back in here. Hopefully, Julian will make it, and Tamon. But so for those that don't know, that tonight we're talking about our favorite Dcom Disney Channel movies. And in order for us to have that conversation, I need the rest of my folks on here right now. So I'm going to give them a chance to get themselves here, and we'll do a little bit of a commercial break, and hopefully we'll be all right back. All right, be back. All right, that was a commercial for Tamon Kane, TK Publishing. So if you guys know Tamon, he is a publisher, and he has a graphic novel coming out soon. So shout out to Tamon. So I don't know where he is right now. So unfortunately, guys, Jermaine's power went out. I'm not quite sure how he's going to be able to make it back on. So it looks like it's just me tonight. So if you guys are watching, make sure you kind of join in the comments, and I'm be sure to respond to y'all. So one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight, we were going to talk about later, but because it's so big right now, is Encanto. So if you haven't seen it already, I don't know how you have, you must not have, if you haven't seen it yet, it's been out in theaters, and right now it's on Disney Plus. It came out, I think, Christmas Eve, and it's blowing up more so than it did when it actually was initially premiered in theaters. Now that it's been on Disney Plus, it's everywhere. And so if you haven't seen already, Encanto is about a family in Colombia who've been serving their community with these magical gifts that they were able to receive, except for one person in their family. And it's talking a lot about like generational trauma and like the pressure that you have to be strong and take care of the community and to be perfect. And it's such a wonderful film. And its music has been, and I think he broke a good chunk of the story too, was written and music by Lin-Manuel Miranda. And like you can tell, if you hear the music, you can definitely tell that it is Lynn's music, but it is so good, and all the songs are a bop. Particularly one that's called "We Don't Talk About Bruno." But there's so much to delve into with that film. So, if you guys have seen it, let me know in the comments, and like tell me what you think. Tell me what you guys think of the film. If you guys see the content, let me know. So like I've seen it with my kids. Like we've sat and watched it several times. We've had the soundtrack playing in the car like nonstop. And that's what we normally do when we get something that we're really into, is like we're gonna watch and listen to it forever, or at least a good several months. So we're gonna probably listen to the soundtrack for a good while. And my favorite thing about it right now is being able to listen to like the different discussions and like analysis of Encanto on TikTok. Like TikTok has some really great content about Encanto. So just talking about the generational trauma. Oh yeah. Hey Billy. Everyone is talking about Encanto, but after I got sick, my watching, streaming, Twitch cast, and otherwise has been way down. Okay, but you gotta watch it. If you've gotten sick, this is the perfect time to watch it, Billy, because it's so good. It's so good. Now, some folks, for some reason, I don't know. I guess if you're not really into Lin-Manuel Miranda, like some folks might not be into it, but honestly, the story on its own has spoke to a lot of people, particularly people of color, people in the Latina community. It really speaks to them, and it's so much to dig into. And I like how we're starting to get more Disney films, particularly like our animated films that have less to do, especially if we have like a female lead, less to do with like a romance, a princess being saved, or a princess saving herself. It's a lot to do with family and how our family can influence us. And so I'm kind of liking that direction. Like, no, nothing against like the princess films, because like we love those, but like these are taking a different take. And like I think I also like how there's not really a villain. So like the difference between Encanto and like Coco, there's clearly a villain in Coco, but in Encanto, like you can say that there's a bit of an antagonist, but not necessarily a villain, because they're all dealing with some type of trauma. Even the person that's considered the antagonist. But isn't every female Disney lead a princess? No, actually no. And it really depends on who you speak to. So like I wouldn't say Mirabelle, this is the lead female character in Encanto, is a princess. I'm trying to think. There's some like that are not considered princesses. I mean, now that I think about it, I have to think about that some more, because there are some that are not. If you guys could think of a movie where there's like the female lead is not considered a princess, that'd be great. Like there's some of them in there. Oh, I think Jermaine's about to join us. Jermaine, okay. Oh my gosh. Ooh.
I'm back, man.
Yeah. My God, thank goodness.
First, it blipped off just enough to shut everything down for 3 seconds.
Yikes. I don't know what's going on over there in California.
It's just this town. Like they always shut the power down. Christmas, they turn the power off from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. Nobody had power for 12 hours. No
What?
kids had no fun.
No. How are you supposed to play with any of your toys if you get no
Hmm.
power? You can't even play your new game system. How does that make sense?
Exactly.
Mm-mm. It's, you know.
Okay.
Hey, Liz. What's up, Liz? So I was just talking about Encanto and how it's breaking, not necessarily breaking away from, but like we're seeing less of the Disney princesses and more about the family dynamics
Hmm.
in films. And Billy was asking me if like aren't all like the female leads like a Disney princess. I'm like, no, not all of them. I'm trying to think of which ones aren't considered princesses though. Now that I think about it, because there's at least some that are not
Disney.
considered princesses.
So Mulan's out.
Yes,
Because
Mulan's not a princess.
they incorporate, for some reason, Mulan is a Disney princess despite not being a princess in the movie.
Right. Very true.
Disney leads that are not princesses.
I'm trying to think. I mean, technically, Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas is a female lead, but that's not a princess. But that's kind of pushing it. But that no, like there's some other ones that are not considered princesses.
I would say
So
Moana, but or is she
yeah.
the chief?
Well, she'd be the chief. So Mulan was not a princess. Then she went and saved China. Right. Thank you, Corey. Hey, Corey. Oh yeah. See, look, I knew you'd come join us. Yeah, so there's quite a few of them. So I was talking about just Encanto, like how the music's great, how I've enjoyed the content on TikTok with like all the analysis for the film, talking about the music, lots of folks that are redesigning the costumes, so many people like making their own recipes of arepas, like the little cheese. Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. Meg from Hercules is not a princess. That is true. That is true. See, there's some other ones in there. I know there are. But you know, they're still a part of that, like that Disney female lead lineup. But this is one of the things I've been enjoying so much about Encanto. Oh, and you know, something else that I have that I was finally able to see, the Eternals. And I wanted to wait till like everybody else was here, but like we were supposed to talk about the Eternals at some point.
Oh, okay. We can get on this if you want.
Okay, let's do it. I do.
Okay, so where do we want to start? First of all, how did you feel about the movie overall?
Overall, I didn't hate it. Like I liked it. I liked the story. I did not watch it over 3 days. I did. Yes, it was long. Yes, Billy, it was very long. Like, so Billy is saying, like, if the plot was molasses. It was long, and it kind of so, like, I liked the movie. My problem, it's not really a problem. It's just, this is one of those movies where, like, I don't know how this movie would have done in the beginning of the foundation of the MCU, as opposed to, like, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. Because right now, like, now you're trying to figure out where any of this stuff fits into, like, the big picture. And it feels so far removed as opposed to WandaVision and Loki. And, like, with, like, Black Widow, you could still get the connection with Hawkeye. And it just feels so far removed. And it shouldn't. I don't feel like it should.
Because it's new characters that have nothing to do with any of the characters that we've met thus far.
Right. I mean, there's some brief mentions of, like, the blip. Yeah.
The issue that I've I side with this is it just felt long. It wasn't that long of a movie. It was like what, an hour or not an hour, like 3 hours, maybe 2.5.
It felt
Two and a
long.
half,
It
3 hours
felt long.
long. But it felt extra long.
Mm-hmm.
And partly that's because they had to cram so much into it. They were trying to do
Right.
way too much with
They
introducing the
were.
characters, introducing their past lives, introducing their dynamics now.
I think that's what it is. I think those flashbacks really like made them like, because when you think of flashbacks, you don't think of like being like an extended part of the movie, like, because those flashbacks really took a chunk of the time when they happen, and then you had to. So if you're not paying attention to what's going on, you're like, wait a minute, how does this fit into what we just saw? Like it really.
Flashbacks could have been a whole movie by themselves.
It really could have. It really could have. So yeah, so it was like, but I liked it. Like the movie was good. The cinematography, like Billy said, was great. Acting was great too. Hey, Julian.
Hi, everybody.
Hey. And
Ooh.
like I'm waiting to see like how it fits in more once we see more of these movies come out. And like right now, I'm behind on some of the other films. So like, I finally did see Shang-Chi. I haven't seen Spider-Man yet. I need to see that. And like, if they're continuing just to wait, I want to see it. But like, if they're gonna continue to like premiere most of these movies in theaters, like it might be a minute. It might be a minute before I go see them, and I hate that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't help it.
Yeah.
I agree though, because even talking about how our next episode is going to be Scream, I'm like, oh, I have to actually go to the theaters to watch this. I was like, I googled it and I was like, can I stream this anywhere? They're like, no, you gotta actually go out and like go see it. And I'm like, what are these options?
Right.
It's 2022 and I have to go out and go see a movie. Like,
yeah, that's. I get it. Folks are like, folks are technically losing money when they go straight to stream or they split it, but like, we're still in a pandemonium.
Mm-hmm.
We're still.
Mm-hmm. Guys, I got my triple vax. I got my booster last Monday.
Nice. I didn't get mine.
Flying colors, just like the first two. I have had zero problems, and I'm really excited about that.
I need to get my boost.
Where'd my wig go? How did that happen?
You took that stuff off real quick. Like you said you were sweating.
It was hot, and I was like.
It's but yeah, look, I'm gonna have to go see Scream.
I know,
and I really want to go see Spider-Man. I really don't know.
Well, honestly, if you're planning on, I don't know, someone's calling. Jesus is calling. I don't know.
Yes, somebody's calling.
Someone is calling. But the next time you're planning on, if you're planning on seeing any of these, if you want, if they're streaming, I'll watch them with you.
Oh, please and thank you.
You need you know what I mean? To make it feel like it's like, okay, at least I'm doing something. You know what I mean?
Yes. All right, so thank you. All right, so Corey, college buddy, and a big Disney fanatic, like, I knew I had some. Yes, so we were talking about the Disney female leads that were not princesses. So Esmeralda, yes, Jane, Jessie, Pocahontas, she's the chief's daughter. Even because I had to go with Moana. Like Moana was the chief's daughter, but she was going to be chief. Like she was a chief in training. Yeah. Wendy, Darling, yes, Peter Pan, yes. Thank you, Corey. Thank you so much. I mean, Mary Poppins wasn't a princess.
Right.
But yes,
not Mary Poppins.
Yes. Mary Poppins was not a princess.
I mean, Encanto.
Yeah, I'm just because we're just talking about how they're we're not talking about like a princessy film, but like there's a female lead, and there's focusing more on the family dynamics as opposed to like her having a love interest. Closer to the lines of like Brave, even Frozen, depends on how you see it. But like there was literally none of that, and like how there wasn't really much of like a villain. Like there was an antagonist, but like you had to really pay attention to the story and see like that antagonist is only due to generational trauma, which have been passed down to the rest of the family. But you know.
Oh my god, it was so good.
It was so good. I loved it.
We're waiting on it, but all the things I have to say.
Yes. Look, I've already talked about some of it earlier because we'll have to do some like after content for this because it'll have to work. All right, so we're gonna get into our main topic in a second, which is Dcom films. And before then, I want to make sure we understand that tonight's game is Disney Channel. So whenever you hear someone say Disney Channel, like specifically Disney Channel, like Disney both words at the same time, yes. And I've said it several times now.
It's going to be really rough. Oh,
drink.
Yeah.
Oh.
Get you a drink.
Yeah. Oh my god, she's me. I am her.
You're going to get you some drinks, y'all. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Oh yes, thank you, Corey. Big shout out to Disney. You can see diversity is becoming a big priority for them and the creativity. Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes, and I appreciate like going as far back as like Moana. Like they're doing better about getting doing research.
Yeah, getting the cultural like separations much better. Because,
yeah,
they gave us like Mulan, which was good, but it also had its own like problems, and then Conscious also had its issues.
So like I think the last few ones like Moana and Kanto, probably Coco, I'm sure like had some more obvious forms of like research and background, and yes, and like clearly like people that are a part of the culture are part of the creation of the film.
Did Moana come out before or after Coco? Before. Right? Yeah.
Yep. All right, so we're going to do a quick commercial break, and then we will go into... You know what? No, screw that. We're going to go straight into it. I don't care. All right, so, yeah, I'm going to go into it. So we're going to go directly into Dcom films. Okay, so Dcom, Disney Channel original movie.
But I need my drink.
Yes, I'm sorry, y'all.
Notes, Julian. So. No, keep going.
Yep, here you go. Drink.
I'll drink before I go.
Right. And so I'm in consider would be my like place of business right now, so I cannot have alcohol, so I'm drinking hot chocolate. So sorry, I will not be getting tipsy tonight.
No, I want some hot chocolate. You won't let me go get none. You know
I
what?
told you to go. No, you could have gone and got some. You could have gone and got some while your power was coming back on. Thank you very much. That was rude. See, look.
I was thinking about that at the time. Okay, I was trying to get all
right,
this back
trying to get back.
life. Also, I couldn't when the power was out because the power was out. So
the power was out. That was my bad.
Yeah, random snowstorm, guys. We all got it.
All right, so quick little history. So, like, Dcom films actually go far as back as 1983. So, if you guys didn't know that. But they don't. That's pretty far back. But, like, they don't really actually start calling them Dcom films until, like, the end of 97.
Bitch, what? Almost 2000.
Right.
Which is funny because, what did they call them? What did they call them when we were watching them, like, in the middle of the 90s?
Well, like, they were called, Disney Channel premiere films.
That's right. That's right. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, and so like, and then some actually like my low key favorite ones, the slightly obscure like CZQ that had the Pink Ranger from Kimberly from the Power Rangers, like the original Power Rangers. That was considered a Disney Channel premiere film and not a Dcom. Or Once Upon a Star, that's considered a premiere film and not Dcom.
See, that's funny because
wait, is that the one with Tyra Banks?
Mm-mm.
No.
That's Life Size.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, when was that one?
Right,
It's funny because
my
when I first like looked it up to just like kind of double check which ones I knew, which ones I remember, and things like that. It did have a distinction between like the Disney Channel premieres versus the Dcoms, but I guess they didn't have Dcoms then. You know what I mean? They just only had the premieres.
Yeah.
But I saw on the list of the premieres was Suzy Q, and I was like, oh, that one is such a hardcore favorite of mine. And I was like, oh, I'm so sad because it technically doesn't make this list. It
Right.
doesn't fit the criteria technically, but I was just like, oh, but I do love that one. So it's funny you mentioned it because I was like, oh, that one's a sweet spot. And I was hoping we could talk about it kind of, but yeah, that's what I mean. It's like we all are kind of.
Right.
We can't not.
I loved it. So what did Billy say? I mean, the 70s had The Wonderful World of Disney on Sunday nights. That was usually a replay, but it seemed like it had original movies once or twice per year. Now, was that the one that was actually on Disney Channel, or was that on ABC? Because ABC had
ABC. It was on ABC.
ABC had that
7 p.m. on Sunday, and that was the best.
Yes.
Tell me nothing.
Because that's when you had that's when, because that was well into the 90s though, because
Dumbo as a kid.
So like that's when they did Whitney Houston and Brandy's Cinderella too, because that was like a big thing. That was such a big thing. Like I recorded that thing on tape.
Yeah.
So technically, what would be considered the first? So this one called Northern Lights. That was like the last like premiere one. So technically, the first Dcom was in '97 in October, called Under Wraps.
Was it Zenon?
No, Zenon didn't come until till '99.
Yeah, but Zenon was like one of the early ones.
Really?
So, right?
Yeah, it was '99. So Under Wraps came like at the end of October, and then in '98 you had You Lucky Dog, Brink, love Brink.
I like Brink,
and Halloween Town in '98, and that was just like the three for '98, and then in '99 in January, that's when you had Zenon, and that's where you start to see some of our big favorites come in, some of our old school favorites right there.
Yeah. I think after like the success of like Brink and Halloween Town and those first ones, they were just like, oh, these keep them coming.
Right. And it's weird because like they fluctuate like how often they would make them. So like in '99 they started making more. Like probably they had like 8.
We got a lot in that like that first chunk, and then it kind of tapered off a little.
Yeah. So like from '99 to probably about, I'm gonna see, I'd say to about 2011. They were, and like early 2000s, honestly, were like they were cranking them out. Like there was one year they did like 12 in an entire year.
Yeah.
And I think that one where they did 12 is like where some of our ultimate favorites are in there. Like, let's see.
So they would do like one a month.
Yes, they literally did one a month.
Hype that movie to no end.
And I think that's when
the commercials would be endless.
Yes, and so I think that's when like they were doing like what was called Zoog.
Zoog Disney.
They were
Disney.
Like, yes, skate better. No, like I was doing some research and I had to rewatch Brink, and I was like, man, that was such a good movie, and like there was some serious heartthrobs in that movie. Like the actor that played Brink himself, he was a heartthrob in that time. We had Taina in that film. You guys remember her?
Man, I remember her.
The actress that played Taina was in that movie. And then she came back later. And no, she didn't do it.
Where's she at right now?
Right. I really want to know because she didn't do another Dcom film. She did like an actual Disney movie, Freaky Friday. But I think around the same time she was doing Taina. But like that one was really good. So like in 2000 they had like Up and Away, The Color of Friendship. I watched Alley Cat Strikes. I think that was the first time I actually paid attention to that one. Was this weekend, and like that was really good. And that had some like you'd be surprised like how many of like today's like sitcom stars had their start in a Dcom film.
And it's actually a lot of shows actually that a lot of shows in like movie plots that like they kind of like did in Dcom films as like kind of child versions essentially.
Mhm.
And you know, and then like we see them being like more elevated and then become adult, and like now they're actual like plots of like real films and things. You're like, oh, okay, that's funny.
Yes.
They started somewhere.
Yes, and then let's see. Phantom of the Megaplex. That one was good too. I think that one was kind of scary. 2001, you had Zenon the sequel, Motocross, stuff with the Irish, Jet Jackson the movie. I didn't realize that was that early.
Yeah, I didn't realize that one was that early too. But Jet Jackson was
Wow.
the one. That one.
Rest in peace.
Yes, R.I.P. Let's see, Hounded, The Proof Point. I don't remember that one. Halloween Town 2.
Which one? Oh,
Halloween Town. The second one. And oh goodness, I just remember like early 2000s. They had all my favorites that I watched, that I would literally love to watch. But there was something about, yes, classics. But I have to say though that some of the newer ones are some of them, not all of them. I've got my feelings on some of the newer ones. But the late 2000s have some really good ones too.
Yeah, no, they really did though. Actually, some of them
Only ones I can remember after a certain point are like the musicals. Like they went so hard on the musicals after High School Musical. They're like, oh, Camp Rock, Teen Beach Movie, Descendants.
So the reason why they were able to, oh god, the reason why they were able to do High School Musical is because Cheetah Girls did so well.
Yeah,
because Cheetah Girls came out before High School Musical, and I think Kenny Ortega choreographed that one too. Kenny Ortega, look, he was in his bag. Look, he did a lot of stuff, and he's in his bag when it comes to a Dcom musical, a Disney Channel musical. He might as well give Kenny Ortega his money.
Yo, honestly though, but it's true.
Is it weird that I don't think of his? What?
I said Disney Channel.
Did you say, Julian?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was like, oh, we got a drink. It was like quick. Oh, but I was gonna say that he had a hand in a lot of them, and then afterwards, it's funny because like Disney Channel just tried to because they kind of got a little bit formulaic anyway. But then they just tried to model everything after what he had already done. So it's just like, oh, we see you kind of like, so you lost the main guy, but you're gonna keep trying to get it going instead of like find new magic.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if he did. Someone tell me if he did. I don't know if he did Zombies, and I'm not quite 100% sure if he did Cheetah Girls, but I know he did High School Musical, and he definitely did Descendants, and I believe he did Camp Rock. So those are three pretty big ones. So I'm not quite sure. Someone would know. If he did those. I
don't remember Camp Rock, to be honest, but I feel like he has probably done it because he's done like.
Yeah, and so now we're gonna get into. Let's see. Oh wait, what am I thinking of? Okay, and then I think some of the more recent years they had like one or two. So like the last couple of years, they've just been focusing on doing like 2 a year. So like they'll do one in February and then like one in like end of summer, July, August. And I guess they put so much promotion and time on those films when they do them, like especially if it's a sequel to a big one like Zombies or Descendants. Like
well,
the production is also so much more.
Also,
so it's like it's a different kind of investment.
Yeah.
What adds into that is most people don't have Disney Channel like they once did. Most people don't have cable like they once did. So they don't have the funding to do a movie a week or a movie a month or whatever.
It has to be.
Still try to do their original movies to hype their like new kids and their new stable of actors and actresses, but it's not the same.
It really isn't the same.
You're right. No, that does make sense though, because now essentially they're making the budget is bigger, so the projection takes more, so they can't just pump them out. Probably, I mean they probably could, but then they're giving it to like kind of paid subscribers in a way, so they put more into it because it's not just something quick that everyone's going to see this. No, it's going to be only the people that we're already catering to. So we have to make sure we cater to them. That's
right. Because
Quick aside,
yeah.
Who all remembers when the Disney Channel was a premiere channel?
Or
a premium channel.
It was a premium. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I didn't have Disney Channel technically. I technically didn't watch most of these until it became non-premium.
I remember at some point like it for me it was like during the day, like right after school, it'd be like the main channels, like Fox, CBS, ABC for like Saturday morning cartoons, and then like I remember a good chunk of my life was Nickelodeon, and then Disney Channel like later on, probably like late 90s, early 2000s when I really like started watching Disney Channel and drink. So like yeah, like I don't remember watching Disney Channel like that up until like the late 90s.
That's because
even then, not really. To be honest,
it was a premium channel, so you couldn't get it unless you like paid a prescription, like it was HBO.
Right.
Yeah, it was like that. It was it wasn't in your regular cable package. You had to buy it extra.
And then they made it a standard part of cable in like 97.
Right.
Yeah. And then by then it's like, I don't really watch it anyway. It's funny because it's like all the content that I really got from most Disney content I got was whatever they put on other channels. To be honest.
I don't know. I think at some point, I stopped watching the cartoons that were on Nickelodeon. If I wanted to watch cartoons, I would watch Cartoon Network at some point. And then for like your live action shows, it would be Disney Channel. So by that point, I guess middle school, maybe like late elementary school, middle school. That's when like Disney Channel, where they had like Lizzie McGuire, Even Stevens, That's So Raven,
Shot.
Right. Phil the Future.
I keep trying to remember like what I watched during that time because I didn't like for the live action stuff. I didn't watch that. I didn't watch those shows. I never watched those shows. I was like, but what did you watch?
I definitely watched those shows.
For some reason, I'm thinking that I watched like Saved by the Bell and like really terrible things for like that age. You know what I mean? I was like, I think I watched things that were.
They didn't have Lizzie McGuire and stuff until like 1999 or 2000, something like that. Up until then, they were mostly doing like old sitcoms. Like they had Sister Sister and Smart Guy and Growing Pains.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at some point,
and
like I remember,
like, let's just start doing our own sitcoms.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like a weird when realizing when you started watching Disney. All right, so let's get into top 2 favorite Dcom. So like if you're watching right now, let us know what your top 2 favorite are in the comments, and we'll post it. And we'll tell you ours. So like if you haven't had a chance to ruminate over it yet, this is your time. So while y'all ruminate over it, I'm gonna tell you mine. Okay. So my favorites are yes, that's true. Disney Channel really had the live action movies down in a way that Nickelodeon didn't. Yeah, like Nickelodeon really didn't have movies like that until like way late. Like they had some movies like later on, and by that point, I didn't care for them.
Nickelodeon movie.
They had some movies. I see. That's the thing that like you wouldn't think about it. You wouldn't have thought about it.
But what were their movies?
There's that one with Keke Palmer, right?
Yeah, there was one with Keke Palmer. There's another one too. There's another one, and there's a couple of them.
We're technically a Nickelodeon movie.
No.
Wasn't that?
Well, no. Good Burger. So Good Burger, the thing, yeah, but like that wasn't like on Nickelodeon. That was when I went to theater. Like where I'm thinking like something that was on like their channel and was like a big thing to watch on their channel. Like they didn't really have that. Not until later. Not until like mid 2000s. By that point, I wasn't really watching them like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're already too old at that point.
I mean, like, I guess the kids at that time were real into yeah, Good Burger is Nickelodeon, but that was when I went straight to theaters. So that was like a theater instead of like you having to watch the channel for it.
In the 90s, Nickelodeon was producing movies that went to theaters. They gave us like Good Burger and Harriet the Spy.
Harriet the Spy, Rugrats movies.
Okay.
Doug movie.
Rugrats in Paris.
Yeah, they did a Doug movie, didn't they? It was like live action. It was terrible.
No, wait. Hey Arnold had a movie, but was the Doug movie
Is it Doug?
Disney by that point, or was that Nickelodeon?
That was Disney at the time.
Okay, yeah. All right. So, anyways, top 2 favorite Dcom. So, my top 2 favorite would be Cheetah Girls, and it has to be Cheetah Girls, and then what was the other one? Zenon. I love me some Zenon. Like I think my top 2 would have to be Cheetah Girls and Zenon. Like the chokehold that Cheetah Girls had on, and by that point, like I was like in middle school by that point. Like I wasn't really watching it like that. Like I think my little sister was into it. And so, like, but like you can because the music was bops. The music, actually, I tell you that not Cheetah Girls 1, Cheetah Girls 2, Cheetah Girls 2. That's the one.
Okay.
All right. So Corey says, top 2 would be Halloween Town, yes, and Alley Cat Strike, and that one's really good too. That one's really good.
I forgot all about Alley Cat Strike.
I don't even. Remember. I didn't see Alley Cat Strike.
That one had like a young Richard Richard and yes, we do. Still fine. And what's her name? Kaylee Cuoco from Big Bang Theory.
Kaylee Cuoco was on there.
Okay.
Yes, and what's his name? Harry Reid, the dad and sister.
We love him too.
Oh yeah. Yes.
So what's funny is like him and his wife. So they played husband and wife in that movie. They played Richard Richard's parents in that film.
Okay.
So that's like him and his wife. And his wife is what's her name? Daphne, who was light skinned Aunt Viv from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They're a very cute couple. I love them.
I just saw a random tangent, but I just saw the trailer for Bel-Air. It looks really good, though. I'm like,
I haven't seen it.
I think it's on Paramount, though. I'm
not
watching it.
I'm surprised it's not on HBO Max.
I know, you would think, but a lot of things are going on to Paramount, but they're doing that on purpose.
Wait a minute. No, because
why would they go to Paramount? Nobody watches that.
But it's the thing. It's a lot of I mean, everyone has new content. But
I guess it depends on who owns the rights to Fresh Prince now, because Fresh Prince was NBC. And there are lots of things that are NBC. No, because NBC would be.
No, I lied. It's on Peacock. It's going to be on Peacock.
Yeah, that's why. Because a bunch of NBC stuff is on Peacock now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And CBS is Paramount Plus, and then Warner Brothers is all HBO Max now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But also, so honorable mentions from Corey was Horse Sense, and that had the oldest and the youngest Lawrence brothers. Tiger Cruise, yes. Tiger Cruise, which was about 9/11. Is that Disney Plus? Is that? Wait a minute, Tiger. Isn't that the one that had
Tiger Cruise was about 9/11?
That's the one that had Hayden Panettiere in it, I think.
Ooh, we love her.
Yeah, she had her. Yeah, I think that was the one. Like her dad was in the army. And we're not the army, I guess the Navy, because they're on a boat. Yeah, so that I remember that one. I remember like a big deal about Hayden Panettiere beyond that. So those are my. Did I say my second one? Yeah, I did. Okay, so Jermaine, what are yours?
Ooh, okay. As much as I hate to admit it, High School Musical's totally there. I
feel like they're given though. Everybody loves them.
But I love the
know.
sequel. I love
Right.
High School Musical 2, though.
I heard 2 is the best one. I
It-
mean, I have seen them as well.
High School Musical 2 felt weird to me because the music felt more processed when they would break out into song. Like it felt like they had gone into the studio rather than them just like
breaking into song where they
singing.
are.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like it didn't feel like it was a spur of the moment. Like suddenly they had reverb and like and like layers, and I'm like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
They
But I
had
do
a
love the music
budget.
from High School Musical
They
too.
had a budget this time.
Right.
Right.
And then they
And,
had
like,
so much of a budget they could go to the theaters.
Man, I still have never seen High School Musical 3, but I've heard like 2 songs from it. I'm like, my chest.
I loved. Okay, so my favorite memory of watching High School Musical is like I remember watching the first one, but when the second one came out, I think I was a freshman in college, and they made it like a housing event because I lived in the dorms. It was like a dorm event where we like watched the premiere and we all crowded around this tiny little movie room that we had with a big screen TV, and we like watched that. That was the biggest thing to me. I loved that second one. So like it was so cute. But like that third one, and that one's technically not considered Dcom because it was in theaters. But
Yeah.
but it's I loved it.
Yeah.
Okay, and my
We're here
second
for
one is super hard to choose, but I think I'm gonna go with Johnny Tsunami. Johnny
Ooh,
Tsunami
yeah.
was my junk.
Yeah, that one's a good one.
You couldn't tell me men.
Watch that one.
I was all about Johnny Kapahala and his grandpa, and like,
Yes.
Wasn't like the grandpa from
Don't worry, Lindsay. I have not I mean,
It's
I've like
Shang Tsung.
watched them, but I've never
Yeah.
like watched them. I've never paid attention. I've seen like bits and pieces. So, girl, I'm with you.
So the grandfather in Johnny Tsunami was in Mortal Kombat, the older movies, and like I just not really started to make that connection. Isn't that bad? In my big age, I'm just not making that connection.
Who was she in Mortal Kombat?
No, the grandfather in Johnny Tsunami.
the grandpa was Shang Tsung.
Mm-hmm.
Shut your fucking face.
Mm-hmm.
So
Shang
if
Tsung
you
was like
cross
a
him-
big name. He was in this movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They spent some
And
dough.
he's so iconic,
Okay.
Shang Tsung, that they made him in Mortal Kombat 11, despite like there being a whole new movie with a whole new Shang Tsung, but nobody cares about him. That movie was booty.
No one cares. Nope.
All right,
Ugh.
right. We love
All right.
him.
What about you, Julian?
Okay, me. So then my top 2 are
The other one was Cadet Kelly. Cause
Oh,
that's right.
Ooh.
Cadet Kelly, yes.
yes. I love that one. That was back when Lizzie McGuire and Even Stevens were it. They were so big back then.
Even Stevens
They
was,
were hot.
big.
They were hot.
I remember I would watch it, but it was like hard to get into Even Stevens. They were too at each other's throat all the time. And I was like, I already have a brother who we're already at each other's throats all the time. Like, I don't need to watch it on TV. I live it every day. Like,
you really had to be into Shia LaBeouf's like quirkiness.
The only reason why I was into it.
You had to be really into his quirkiness to really get into Even Stevens, honestly.
Yeah, to be honest. So it was that one was like kind of a rough one, but it was one that I did watch. I like it's on my list of the ones that I'm like familiar with, at least more familiar with. Okay, so I guess I'm just gonna go. Sorry to cut you off, Mister.
Go ahead.
What do you love about Cadet Kelly? What do we love about Cadet Kelly? Because I don't remember that one. I've never seen that one.
Oh, that was just one of my favorite ones. She was an honorable mention.
Yes.
Okay.
I had trying to think. Like, so I had Lizzie
I'm pretty sure
McGuire.
if I go back and watch Cadet Kelly today, I would cringe never ending.
I'm sorry, they're all cringy now, though, to be honest. When I watch them now, I'm like, oh, they're so bad. For a lot of reasons. But yeah, so mine I'm gonna go with Brink for sure, actually. Because I was like that dancing one, and Julian loves a dance movie.
Brink?
Wait, was it about it? No, that was about skating. Skating was about skating.
That was really, yeah. I was about to say, like, huh? No. Yeah, Brink was skating.
I was like, oh, it's a team. That's what it is. I was thinking of something else. But anyway, yes, that one's. It's also like one of my earliest ones. So it's like, it's one of those I really first got into, and I would like watch it with my cousins. I think it was. So it was like, it was a cherished memory for that reason. It's a little endearing. But actually, when I go back and watch them, I'm like, these are really terrible movies, and they set really bad precedents because it's like, it's like 80s and 90s. I'm sorry, but like television in the 80s and 90s was so bad. It was like, and it just trickles down to like what we watched as kids, and so for kids, it's just even more inappropriate,
Yeah, it's I have to keep that in mind.
Okay, I'm gonna get to why I say that, because there's like one of them where it's like it's very sexy. Like one that I remember. Okay, so it was between that one, or I was gonna go with that one or Luck of the Irish. But I don't really like that one as much now, because now that I watch that one, it's very like sexist.
Luck of the Irish.
It's very like, you know what I mean? It's very like, it's very misogynistic and things like that. And I was like, but I originally resonated with that one because, in the end he like liked basketball, he played sports, but he was like small and runty because he was a leprechaun, and Julian is small and runty. So I was like, oh, it's me, it's all those things. But now, like as an adult, like now, like having watched it more as an adult, I'm like, oh my god, all the other themes that are going on, I'm like, these are all terrible. I was like, the only good thing is that is that like, oh, he triumphed over, even though he's small, but like all the other lessons that like everyone else has taught him in his life are terrible. I'm like, oh god, this is so bad. It's like there's gender issues, there's like. That happens a little bit sometimes, but it's funny. Whatever. That one's a good one. But okay. So then, and I'm gonna actually go with. So it's a toss up between Teen Beach and Wizards of Waverly Place, but only for the boys.
Okay, so I watched Teen Beach for the first time.
That's it.
I watched Teen Beach for the first time this week.
Waverly Place, the movie.
Because Teen Beach is the most ridiculous one of them, and I feel like that's one I want to go with just because it was so ridiculous.
I watched them for the first time this weekend. I'm like, my gosh, what is this thing? Like they were really trying to bank on that musical mess, but it was just like there was so much. So like I'm sitting there like watching. The only reason why I knew like any of the songs from Teen Beach is because my daughter's dance studio, they did a couple of routines they did a routine to the compilation of it for competition. And like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, they're doing a lot of hip gyrating. Like, not to sound like a swear, but like, they're doing a lot of hip gyrating in this movie for it to be a Dcom film.
It's very inappropriate.
I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. And like a lot of I get it, they're on the beach. So like, but the girls were like real. I'm like, I got some thoughts. Let me leave it alone. Let me leave it alone.
Don't leave it alone, girl. Don't leave it alone. Like, say it. Speak of it. Disney Channel. Okay, because that's how I'm gonna say it.
They were reaching with that one. They were really reaching with that.
All these Dcoms, all these Disney Channel original movies. I will have to say, I did write a few notes that are at the top that are like underlying issues between all of them. It's like, like it doesn't matter which one I've watched. I was like, it's the same problem with all of these. And like one of them is definitely that is like the whole like giving like, they gave like kids like really adult situations, but they give it to you in like your like prepubescent like form of it, but it's still like really adult in a way. And I was just like, and it's like, it's usually like kind of sexual, and it's usually like relationship wise and stuff. And I'm like, these like 14-year-olds, first of all,
like there's a reason. Like it's even like when I think about like Descendants, like they're 15, 16. They're like literally about to get married, like they get engaged by the third movie. I haven't seen like the last one, which is like the animated one where you see Mal and Ben get married. Like I haven't seen that one yet. But just thinking of that, like, okay, these are clearly still teenagers
Right.
getting married.
And like,
But okay.
and that's the thing. Like, I understand that, like, you know, we as adults are kind of like sexualizing these relationships in a way, I suppose. But we're not. You know what I mean? It's like we're not. Like, if you're watching what we're watching, they are visually doing it without saying it. So it's like that's the problem that I'm having here. These aren't just random, like, you know, they aren't innocent relationships that we're watching. These aren't innocent situations that we're seeing. They're kind of like coding them in there as a little bit more adult than they should be. And I'm just like, oh, this is sketchy for me.
No,
like,
so
I'm sorry, Zenon. Let's talk about Zenon, because she falls in love with like the pop star who's like a grown adult, and she's like literally like 12. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna take you, and then, you know, at the end of it, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna take you on tour with me, 12-year-old.
Right. That's really an inappropriate relationship.
Exactly.
Now that you think about it, it's funny because I think back to like going back to Descendants. You know, I don't think of it. I don't see it through the lens of like a love story. I'm thinking of like more of the lens of like social justice. Like you have a show, you have a whole movie where like you have like an island of villains, and you're talking about like completely discriminating the children of the villains because due to the sins of their parents. And you're talking about like classism, and like you have these kids living in poverty, and you have to talk about privilege because all the folks that live in Oregon have like no clue that the kids on the aisle are like can't even get like fresh food and like clean water. I'm like, this is kind of like intense for like a kids movie, but no one's thought about this. Like,
and sometimes some of those things are okay though, because that shows like real life, you know what I mean? Because some kids who are watching that, they're the ones who live on the other side of the tracks.
Right. But I think the whole like
anything.
Right. Like, but you have to have that conversation with your kids about it, because I'm thinking to myself, like, what was really weird, and like while watching the third movie of Descendants 3, was thinking like, okay, like they bake the fact that like these kids have never had like clean, decent, like edible food as like a punchline throughout the movie, and I'm like, that shouldn't be funny. But like the fact that they don't have flies on their food, like that shouldn't be a that funny of a joke.
Okay, see, that's my point. They get by with like certain things where I'm just like, you're teaching kids something kind of wrong here, technically.
Like, are we gonna like we should have a conversation about this, guys. This should be like a little bit further than where it's at.
And it's always a little touchy. I get it, because like, and that's the other thing, because Disney actively tries to do right, I suppose.
I guess
we do see that. I mean, they in the end, you know, they still want to make their money.
I mean,
in the end, that's really the grand thing. But so we see them like actively trying to do those things, but at the same time, their job is really big because their market is kids.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're marketing to kids, you have a lot of there's a lot of eggshells fucking everywhere. So it's like, I'll give them that they have a really a huge task in order to have their main market and everything that they produce be really focused on kids, and then still be able to do that and not cross all the wrong boundaries.
Right.
Which they do too often, but
right. All right, so we're gonna keep going. So, like, when did you stop watching Dcom? And I'm gonna tell you right now, I guess technically I haven't really officially stopped, because I think at some point because I still watched them in college, some of them. Like, I was definitely watching Camp Rock 1 and 2 in college. Mm-hmm. Definitely watching High School Musical, back Lemonade Mouth, I was watching that too. Like, there's quite a few of them that I was still watching. And I think probably like around the time that I had kids, I
And
wasn't paying
Lemonade
attention.
Mouth. Why did I
Yes,
forget about Lemonade Mouth?
I love Lemonade Mouth. Like that was great stuff. But like I think at some point, like I didn't start watching them again until my kids started paying attention. And so like, I remember the first one that I really was like, okay, let's watch this Disney Channel, this Dcom film was Descendants, and that was back in 2015, 16. No, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been watching. We'll find one to watch every now and then, but like we don't watch them like that anymore. I might make the kids watch old ones with me.
Right. Oh, every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a great opportunity, and that's kind of what I wanted to say before. Is that like technically all these movies, like parents should be watching these things with their kids. It's kind of like one of the problems I have sometimes is like parents will like put things on and just like leave their kids to it. Do that if it's like a rerun. But if it's a fresh something fresh that you've never seen with your child before, you should really be watching it, right? Because like everything is a teachable moment, especially for a kid. You know what I mean? So it's like, and they're gonna pick up things from whatever they're seeing, and if you're not paying attention, then you can't steer them in the right directions. You know?
Right.
So it's like,
I'll definitely watch those. I stopped when I got a retail job. What did it say? that had too many hours. Yes.
yeah, it's hard to keep up these days. Okay, but I definitely stopped. Well, okay, it's funny because I didn't start until much later. Because as we were talking about it, you know, it was a premium channel at first, and I didn't have it. So I didn't like actually start seeing like my first Disney. Like I saw like Brink and maybe a few other ones like. I watched them with my cousins because one of my cousins had the Disney Channel, and that's why. So it wasn't until like we'd all get together every summer that like I watched some of the Disney Channel like Dcoms. So I guess it wasn't until like teenagers that I actually like you had the Disney Channel for everyone, right? It became like regular cable, I guess. It was like 90s, 2000s. So
like 2000.
I'm a teenager then. How old am I now? God, Jesus.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so then yes. So like it wasn't until like I was a teenager, but I didn't really get into them then. So that's what I was saying. So like I didn't really like watch them until like I was like in college maybe is when I actually caught like a few of them. And so then it was more just for watching them to watch them. So it wasn't like I didn't really like, connect to them in that way. It was really hard to connect to a lot of them in that way. So I didn't like start watching them until much later. So it like ending watching them didn't really happen because I didn't really start watching them in that way. I've just kind of caught them as they've come. Yeah.
And I think like probably by the time that I was in high school, like the main reason why I would even watch a Disney Channel movie would be because I got a younger sister. So like my sister and I are like 12 years apart. So like when I was in high school, like Cheetah Girls was a big thing. So like she was all about Cheetah Girls. Like between the Cheetah Girls and like the Bratz movie, even though Bratz is in Disney, but like that was like that. I'm a girl group, and so whenever I get together with my girl cousins, oh yes, so like her and like a couple other cousins that are around the same age. Whenever we get together, they do their own little girl group. They had the Cheetah Girls, they had their own Bratz like get together, and they put on a routine. So like that was when I was still having to watch that stuff, and so it caught on, and I had no problem watching it. You know, I'm not going to deny that.
Catchy. I mean,
we're
here for it.
Look, I'm telling Cheetah Girls 2 had some bops. It had the best music. I promise you.
Yeah.
And like I did not watch Cheetah Girls 3. Didn't want to bother with
it. Everyone scorns Cheetah Girls 3.
What'd you say?
Strut. Like
yes, you still got to. Yes. The party's just begun.
I'm not as familiar.
Yes. All right.
Party's
so
just begun, man. Cheetah Girls 2 came in, then they lost Raven, and then Cheetah Girls 3 happened, and it was all downhill.
Yeah, I don't think I still haven't seen that one all the way through. To be honest with you, I still haven't seen that one all the way through. I think I've only seen like pieces of it, and I wasn't really interested. I didn't care by that point. Right. Yeah, I didn't care about that point. So,
even like in the narrative of the movie, I was like, "How you gonna have Cheetah Girls without Galleria?" She was the whole like backbone of the entire group. Like she
Well, okay,
was
so
the one
then
that kept
that
everyone like on their shit. And
so
Sure
the
did.
huh?
that was one of the things I had noticed is that like on set, like not on set, they did a lot of like what is it? What do they call that when they go to like different places essentially?
Yeah.
You know, like all of those that like all like Cheetah Girls 2, all of their
Destination,
sequels,
like
all
mhm.
they'll become destination like shots and productions, and I'm just like, so then they lose like all their characters in that way. You know, so it's hard to like bring everybody because then they gotta pay everybody to be.
Well, and the thing is though, like I think by that point, because so if you were keeping up with the Cheetah Girls outside of the movies, like the Cheetah Girls became like an actual group after that first film, but Raven
Mhm.
wasn't a part of it. Raven was had her own music career. She was already pretty busy with that. So Raven, like she already was making money. She didn't need the Cheetah Girls group. She was doing fine without it, and so she would only come back for the movies. And then I think that second film, she was an executive producer for I think the second and third one.
Mhm.
But like by the third one, she was like, I'm really too busy, and there was some other like issues between the girls too, where she wasn't getting along with someone in the group. But like I said, like either way, Raven was fine. Raven's been okay. Yes, always. But she.
It's always
But
Keely.
it's always Keely. But let's be real though, Raven didn't need the Cheetah Girls like beyond the movies. She's
No, Cheetah Girls needed her.
They really did. Like Raven is like Disney royalty, like Disney Channel royalty. Honestly,
she really is though. She really is.
Like,
Mhm.
and she still got money that she hasn't touched since Cosby, so she all right.
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, yeah. To be honest, like Cosby Show, like really that solidified her. But then That's So Raven was so successful. It still is. I love that show.
Yeah, it's still successful. She's got she's got the continuation or reboot kind of going on, and the sequel, and I think she's been acting for so long, like I think she's been able to be. She's okay. I think she's okay.
Oh, yeah.
So the next one would be.
I'm not saying that she needed the money or anything. I'm saying narratively in the universe of the Cheetah Girls, it just felt wrong with her not being in the third movie, with her not being part of the group in the third movie, because in the first and second movie, you see if she's not there keeping all the girls in line and writing all the songs and working all that out. The other girls are just everywhere, just can't get anything together.
So
now she's gone. Like, we're gonna go on a world tour. No, you don't have music without Galleria.
Right? Who's writing these songs, girl?
All right, so let's get into this is the last part right here before we go. We're gonna talk about the highest rated Dcom. So this is off of Disney Fandom Wiki. So if I'm wrong, let me know, but I'll be read about it. So let's do like top 10. Let's see top 10. All right. So number 10 would be Cheetah Girls 2 with 8.1 million viewers. Number 9 is Jump In with 8.2. That's the one with Corbin Blue and Keke Palmer. Yeah, the Double Dutch one.
Corbin Blue and Keke Palmer.
Okay.
Yes.
That's really good though.
Let's see.
Limit.
Right. Push it to the limit.
Yes. Oh, I think I remember that song. I never saw the movie, but I'm pretty sure I remember that song.
Number 8 is Teen Beach with 8.4 million.
Well, that's because it's pure ridiculousness, pure chaos. That entire movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Number 7. I think when I stopped watching Dcom, I was like, nope, I check out. I checked out right here.
Oh, you really?
Not
Oh,
watching
you really?
it.
I saw TV, and that's when I stopped supporting Dcoms.
I watched this weekend. I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous. Like, how does anybody just
No.
and like now
It was-
it's ridiculous. It's crazy.
I'm sorry. It's only great to watch like as an adult and like after a blunt or two or something like that. And then it's just like, oh my god, what the fuck am I watching? And then it's set to music. What's happening here? Chaos.
That must have been it because I was definitely sober when I had to watch that. All right,
No.
number 7 was Princess Protection Program. That's the one with Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
Ooh,
When
Selena
like
Gomez
they,
and Demi Lovato.
yeah, it's like when those two were super besties, and like them being besties was like a super thing.
I see.
Yes.
Mhm.
Next one would be Descendants 2 at 8.9 million, which I'm surprised that it's not higher.
Okay.
But
oh, okay. She's like, I would have rated it number 2. Yeah.
no, I just thought it would have been higher. But no, like because I liked it for Uma, but that was my thing.
I just realized that.
Oh no, the secret to watching Dcom, being intoxicated. That's what it was.
Oh.
So number 5 is Camp Rock. Number 5 is Camp Rock with 8.9 million, and that one had
Camp Rock.
You know, I liked the first one. The
see
second
that
one was cheesy. Cheesier.
I couldn't do it
I was gonna say,
because at the time I hated the Jonas Brothers.
No.
I hated
yeah.
Demi Lovato. The way that she sang in was so annoying. Like she was trying so hard.
She was.
Oh, no.
I'm like,
It's-
you don't need to do all those riffs and runs. Quit screeching at us. Stop.
Probably because like all the other like look aside from like Raven Simone, and like some of the older ones, like everybody else weren't really singers. Like very few of them were actually singers. Because I honestly think like Raven like during That's So Raven time, and like Hillary Duff was like the downfall from there because everyone else. Because Hillary, I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah,
I
no,
bought
Hillary Duff, she can't know. No.
Like Hillary, I bought Hillary Duff's Metamorphosis album. I bought it. I don't care. She hasn't bought it, but she's not a singer. Same thing with Selena Gomez. I don't care. Selena Gomez is not that great. She can whisper the hell out of a song,
Oh my
y'all.
god. Listen.
She can whisper. She can whisper the hell out of the song, but she is not a singer.
She doesn't have that power.
No,
but
It's true.
She has found her mother effing place in her current genre and her current like Latin sound. Oh my god, this bitch is killing me.
Yeah, like she has had the benefit of giving. She's systematic music. The thing is, like, she's been really good about being able to find folks to find a good sound for her. So she's really in the pocket of a sound that's like.
Yeah, it works for her because she's, that's the thing. She doesn't have like that kind of power. Her voice is like it's very monotone, and so you just gotta work with what you got. So she can't be a pop princess because you can't be out here. Girl, you can't do these ballads. It's fine, we know.
And it's okay.
I can't either.
But
her current sound is really good though. It's working very well with what she's got. So she sounds amazing.
Yes, it's very true though.
Okay, but Hillary Duff. Okay, last Hillary Duff song I remember was one from Laguna Beach. It was the theme for Laguna Beach. That's the last Hillary Duff song I can
she's had.
Yeah.
I mean, like she's had a couple of albums, but like you're not listening to Hillary Duff for her vocal abilities. Not really. If the song's good, if it's a bop, you can.
No, it's catchy, like fun pop.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
You expect her to give us like a fun pop song. You're not expecting her to be Patti LaBelle and blow the roof off the house.
What it will say
we already
is
know.
that
you know what
woman is. She's ageless. She's timeless because she looks exactly like she did, like, and Lizzie McGuire when she was like 14. And then she was like 17 years old, 15, 16. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, or you haven't aged like a minute. Good for you.
Yeah, she's
She
she's
looks
still
great. I'll give her that.
Yes. All right. So let's see. Number 4 is Descendants, the first one, with 10.5. Number 3 is Witches of Waverly Place, the movie, with 11.4 million.
Because Ricky, what's his face is beautiful. That's why.
I guess
Henry. What is it? What Henry's?
Yeah.
Can't think of it.
Okay.
David,
So
Whatever
here's
his name is, I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
He's
David and
beautiful.
Ring.
Ricky Ullman was in a different movie.
Yeah, that's the other one.
So here's number 2. You ready for it? Teen Beach 2 with 13.5 million.
What?
Wow.
Yes. Teen Beach 2. I
This is so
refuse to
scale.
watch. Yeah, I refuse to watch that.
Oh god, it's just as ridiculous as the first one.
Yes. All right, and then the number 1, the highest rated Dcom film with 17.2 million viewers is High School Musical 2.
See, that's
Yes.
the
Mhm.
one I heard was the best one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so wait,
Yeah.
so how many? There's 3, there's 5. How many are there?
There's 3 High School Musicals.
There's only 3. Okay,
But like
What? 5?
What?
But don't they go to college, right?
Technically,
They've gone to college already.
No.
They're
So like
leaving college by the end of
Sharpay, like there's
High
a
School
sequel for
Musical, High School
Sharpay.
Musical 3 to High School Musical 3 and Sharpay's thing.
Yeah,
Sharpay's
and
Adventure or whatever it is.
so that's like the closest thing to college.
Okay, so that's the college version one, and the other ones are when they're like just okay. All right,
Yeah.
that's cool.
And I think the
That's
Sharpay one like went straight to DVD.
All right. Well, it makes sense though because
It
you know,
was
the first
terrible.
one is always like it's always the first one is always like kind of good, but you fix what you did wrong in the first one and the second one. Hopefully, if you have a good sequel. So it makes sense. The second one would be pretty high because I mean, obviously, High School Musical was fucking
Right.
People still be playing those soundtracks. Are you kidding?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Like hardcore.
All right. So, actually, we're kind of out of time right now. So we're gonna wrap it up. Okay. So thank you guys so much for joining us tonight and like hanging with us through all the technical difficulties. Shout out to Tamam. We'll see you next time. I think his episode is next week, and she'll be talking about Scream.
We're excited. I hope
Yes.
y'all are
Scream.
Yeah. Yes.
Everybody
You
go
want to
watch
play a
it.
game?
So
Wait,
we can
no,
have a
that's not what it
whole
says.
conversation
Right?
about it next week.
Yes. We gotta hurry up and
I
watch
gotta
it.
watch the whole franchise because I've never seen it.
I know. Girl, me too. I was like, it's on Netflix? Okay, I'm gonna stream them all and then I have to take a trip to the theater. Oh god, you are asking for a lot.
A lot. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, follow us on all the things at Geekin Out. There's no G at the end, it's an accent. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye, y'all.
Ciao.